Sarah Young is CEO and would you say co-founder or founder? Founder.
Either is fine.
Either is fine. You do have a team though. And Sarah is an active member of the Minnesota tech community. Many of you may know her. She participated in the first startup weekend, came out really strong with a concept that has since turned into Rock Your Block, and I'll let her talk a little bit more about what that is. But it's been over a year now, and she's been pushing this thing forward, which is phenomenal, because about probably 3/4 of what happens at startup weekend doesn't go forward. Just, being honest, I think that's probably what the numbers are. Of course, there's lots of value and good things gained from the experience, but most of what you guys are building will not exist a month, 6 months, or a year down the road. But we've got a few that have come from the first and second startup weekend that are still kicking and still going strong, which is really the goal. And I think that's just kind of the law of startups. But enough about that. And I want to mention that after Sarah's talk, she's going to be sticking around and mentoring. She'll be floating and she'll be helping out teams that need that. And we also have another mentor this morning, Scott Davis, who was part of Conquer, which is also from Startup Weekend, Twin Cities 1, which is also still alive and growing. So Scott will also be mentoring with Sarah after this. So feel free to do your work. Please do be quiet while she's talking. I think it's going to be about 15 minutes while she shares some of her experiences and talks about her story. And then you can disperse and go get building your stuff and carry on with your day. So thank you, Sarah Young, for being here.
Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Young. As Jeff introduced me, I'm the founder and CEO of Rock Your Block. So we competed in the first startup weekend in September 2010 and came out in second place. So first runner up to Conquer actually, and they took first. So Scott's here if you want to talk to him about Conquer. They're working on the geosocial game of world domination. So it's a mobile game. Talk to him about that. He'll be around mentoring today as well. Otherwise, Rock Your Block is a Facebook and mobile application that helps teens find odd jobs and part-time work in their neighborhood and their community. So, today, if you want to talk to me a little bit more about Rock Your Block, I'm happy to tell you all about it. But today I'm going to talk about a little bit how to get the most out of your weekend here today and tomorrow, what you can expect during startup weekend, and what you can expect after startup weekend. And then after that, I'll give a few tips of what I've gained in the past year and a half of being a full-time entrepreneur. I'll give you little takeaways from that, from my experience. So coming into startup weekend, I didn't really know a lot of what to expect. I came in, I literally just signed up for startup weekend because it sounded cool and because I got a bunch of emails saying I should sign up for it, and I was doing a lot of networking and heard that a lot of people were going. So I was like, everybody's doing it, I might as well sign up. I had no idea what to expect going in. I didn't go with an idea. I didn't go planning on pitching anything. I literally just went because it was another event and it sounded sweet. So how many of you kind of were in that same boat? Or how many of you actually knew what to expect out of the weekend before you came here? Show of hands. So a lot of people kind of knew what to expect. You guys don't even count because this is the third startup weekend that has hit the Twin Cities. So if you haven't heard of it by now, you probably hang out with this guy. Punchline destroyed. You probably hang out with this guy a little bit too much. So before startup weekend, like I said, I was a little bit afraid to pitch an idea. I didn't have an idea. I kind of was just coming for the experience. But as I was there and I was watching other people pitch ideas, I was like, gosh, you know what? I wish I had something. I wish I had something to get up and talk about and pitch for 60 seconds like you guys did yesterday. And as I was watching people, I was like, you know what? I do kind of have this idea that's been in my back pocket for over a year now. I might as well just, if everyone else can get up on stage, I can do it. I can just pitch it. What's the worst that could happen? And sure enough, I did, and ended up coming out pretty well. So I got kind of lucky in that I went in not even planning to pitch and came up with a team and a company afterwards. So there I was, attending this big 3-day event, but I had no idea of what to expect out of it, and came out of the weekend with a company. So just so you know, what are the possibilities that can happen out of this. So let's talk about during startup weekend a little bit. during startup weekend. Have fun. Seriously, this weekend's going to be really intense. It's long hours, little sleep, kind of high stress. So take breaks if you need. If your team gets a little heated, you guys are going to be locked in your rooms. So, I mean, don't just stay in your room the whole time. Take breaks if you need. Weird things happen in a team that sits in a room together for hours and hours on end. So some piece of advice that I would recommend is get up and go take a break. If there's tension rising in your room and you're spinning wheels, just get up and go bop into some of the other rooms. That was something that I did. Bop into the other rooms and check out what other people are doing. Yes, this is a business competition, but as much as this is a competition, it's also a big networking event. So if you leave this weekend not having met anyone besides the people in your team, you're doing it wrong. So come out with some good contacts. I have some of my best friends and mentors and advisors that came out of me checking in on the other teams, asking them tough questions, and then people are happy to do the same for you and give you advice on yours. So it's a community thing. Yeah, it's a competition, but we all want to help each other be successful. So, but be careful if you do leave your room. Be careful of leaving your stuff unattended because this might happen. That might happen. Or even worse, that might happen. So just be mindful of where you leave your computer, or if you have a password, maybe put that on there. Let's not leave that one up too long. That's a little awkward. Alright, how to stay focused during startup weekend. So make goals. You guys are going to break off a little bit. Make goals right away in your rooms. Put up your goals on the whiteboard and assign tasks and people to those tasks, and hit time milestones as well. So you can stick to those throughout the day and you stay focused. Don't spin your wheels too much. Once you decide what you're actually going to build, get to building it as soon as you can. Don't spend all day, yes, ideation, and yes, hashing out what your business concept is going to be. Yes, that's important, but don't spend the whole day on it. If you can't decide something in 20 minutes or 30 minutes, if you can't come to a conclusion on it, table it, come back to it later. Chances are it'll come to you sometime during the day. So yeah, thinking of what your company name is going to be important, but do not spend more than 20 minutes on it or you're wasting your time. Get to building. So I'll emphasize this again. Less vision and ideation time, less brainstorming, less whiteboarding, and actually more execution time. If it's something your entire team doesn't need to be in on, so that's for the non-technical people, let your developers go. Let them build, and you separate off, and you do ideation, and you do brainstorming, and all the fluffy, fun business stuff. So stay out of their way. Okay, another thing that you can do is stay busy. As a non-technical person, stay busy. Figure out some things that you can work on. If you can't code, what can you work on? Build a backup presentation. Build a backup. If you are going to show a live demo on Sunday, you need to have a backup presentation slides in case it breaks, like ours did. During startup weekend, our internet was slow and we were trying to load our demo and it wasn't working. Luckily, on Sunday, I was like, what can I work on that I can get out of my developers' way and leave them alone and not bugging them? And I was like, let's build some mock-up slides of what our application is and how it works. So I actually built mock-up pages of flowing through the actual application, and we ended up having to use that because our internet did go out. So that's something you can work on. I'm not a designer, but I designed some mock-up slides. So keep that in mind. Figure out ways you can support your developers, ask them what they need to be successful. So figure out how you can help them out and create less stress instead of hounding on them. Hurry up, work faster, work faster. That's not going to help. Not going to help. Another thing that does really well with the judges is actually getting real user feedback and real traction, no business traction. If you have a business that has, if you can get a hold of users and get some real data or feedback from them, call them up and contact people today and see if you can get some information or live market research from that. That looks really, really good on Sunday if you say, hey, look at what we gathered from our potential user base. This is what they say about our product already. That's awesome. It's not even live yet. That's something that I did. So our product is targeted toward teenagers. I actually called up some teenagers. So I was like, how would you use this application? How would you use Rock Your Block? And what do you think about this? And I had some quotes from teens that I was able to show off on Sunday. So I'm going to say this again, and this goes for both during startup weekend and for working in a startup technology company in general. Love your nerds. love your nerds, appreciate them. They are building the core. Love your nerds. They're building the core piece of your business. Without them, you have no business. So, like I said, don't hound on them when you're going to be done when you need to be done. You need them, so don't piss them off. Love them. Cherish them. Give them what they need to be successful. Let's talk about the morning after. So, Monday morning, I woke up with 5 guys and a brand new baby. And I didn't know who to call first. Do I call Ernest or do I call Maury? What do you do? So Monday morning, you can't have the expectation that you're going to come out with the same team. That's the first part. I want to have the expectation, this is my original team from Startup Weekend. I only have one of those original people with me right now. That's my CTO on the far left, John. He's the only one left. Along the way, we've gained a few, lost a few, fired a few, hired a few, and now we're back up to 5. But I still only have one of those original people left. That's not going to say that's not going to happen for you. It's going to be different for everyone. I mean, look at Concord. They have 4 of the 5 original people left from their startup weekend, so that's a different case story. Everyone's experience is going to be different. All of you are here for different things. Some of you have your own companies. Some of you have startups to work on. Some of you are just here to party all weekend. It doesn't, whatever you're here for, you might not be moving on with the company. So treat Monday morning like day 1. So let's talk about some do's and don'ts. Oh, and so here's my team. That's my team now. So 3 additional people that have come on since then. And so let's talk about some do's and don'ts of during and after startup weekend. So IP, this is a big one everyone freaks out about, and I seriously met and talked to at least 5 people here that were going into this, and that was the number 1 question that people ask me. What about IP? What happens to the things we build during startup weekend? Who owns it? What do we do with it? If someone is not moving on with the company, do we have to buy them out? All this dramatic stuff. And so I'm going to leave you with this piece. Is what happens at startup weekend stays at startup weekend. It's so important. You are all here for the experience of competing during this weekend, but what you build during the weekend, there's no entity to assign IP to, so don't freak out about it. Don't waste time talking about legal drama and getting stuck in it. It's just going to slow you down. Treat Monday morning like day 1 of a new company. So yeah, the weekend you're building stuff, but okay, what happens to everything we built during the weekend? Well, let me ask you this. Do you really want to hang out to code that you built in 48 hours? Probably not. We rewrote our application twice since then using completely different technologies. The Conquer team rewrote their application twice from scratch. Chances are you're not going to use it, so don't freak out about putting a bunch of value on it. You can rewrite it next weekend, have your own startup weekend, and build it then. So just keep that in mind, don't freak out. Product development takes time. So like I said, don't expect to come up with a finished product. Not saying you won't, not saying you won't have an awesome, prove me wrong. Come up with a finished product you can sell on Monday morning, that's awesome. But chances are, you probably won't. So don't expect to be like, okay, what are we gonna do? We're gonna go out and get all these users and it's gonna be awesome on Monday morning. It's not. I'm a year and a half later and we're still not launched. Yeah, we had a demo, we had a prototype early on. Conquer had a demo and a prototype early on. Both of our companies are still not launched yet a year and a half later. So just know that, keep that in mind, that product development takes a long time and be prepared for it. So mostly for me and many other companies, startup weekends served as a big idea validation for me. So I didn't come out with the same team. I didn't come out with a product that I could sell right away. It improved my idea, and it gave me that confidence I needed to make that jump into being a full-time entrepreneur. So if you come out with that, if you come out with an awesome network of people that you met from the weekend, that's going to be a valuable experience for you. It's going to be great. So, since startup weekend, where's the best place to point this? There you go. So here's, I'm just going to buzz through the last few do's and don'ts. You guys are a little anxious to get rolling on your companies today. So don't be afraid to ask for help. That was a big thing for me as a young entrepreneur. I was like, I don't have it all figured out. I knew that, and I got a lot of credit for, acknowledging I don't have it all figured out, and I don't know how to do this. Of course, I don't know how to put together an investor slide deck. I've never done it before. In fact, I was willing to admit that made people so much more likely to want to help me versus having a big ego and say, I've got this all figured out, I'm so confident, I can do all these things. That's fine, but if you go meet with someone and you have that attitude, they probably had really good advice to tell you. They're not going to want to tell you anymore because they were turned off by your ego. So keep that in mind. That's something really important. Don't say these in your pitch on Sunday. So it will be bigger than Google, or you're going to be the next Facebook, or the huge one that's really annoying. It will go viral. Don't say these things, or everyone's going to laugh at you. So do get involved. So this is kind of after. Do get involved. A lot of you are students still, so get involved. Network as much as you can. Meet people for coffee, meet people for lunch, and tell them about your idea. Ask them for feedback, but return the favor as well. So if people want to meet with you, and if you feel like you have nothing to give, you probably do. Ask them tough questions about their business, and they'll love you for it. Even if you feel like, I don't have any advice, I'm young, or I don't have any experience, I don't know. Yes, you do. You have value to give. Ask them how you can help them. As for the students in the room, don't undervalue yourself, kind of on that point as well. But if you do go meet with people, make sure you go into it with an agenda. Why are you meeting with this person? Otherwise, you don't want to waste their time, you don't want to waste your time. Learn to value your time. Yeah, networking is great, but if you're going to just chat and you have no idea why you're going to meet someone, you might not get the most out of it. So if you go with an agenda, you'll get a lot out of it done. This is a huge point. Don't be a naive business person. So this is for the non-technical people in the room. So what does that mean? You want to be a CEO of a technology startup? Learn some freaking code. That doesn't mean you have to be a developer. But learn what your technology is. Learn what your application is being built in. My application is being built in PHP. Here's me digging into a PHP book. Am I ever going to write PHP for my application for AfterWard? Probably not. But I can at least speak intelligently to it when people ask me. I go to a lot of technology events, and a lot of people ask me technical questions, and I don't want to have to answer, I don't know how to answer that. I have to let you talk to a developer. I want to be able to answer them. So that was something that I learned. And coding is fun. Your nerds will love you. If you learn a little bit of code, they're going to be really excited. They're going to want to help you out. So dig into it a little bit. Don't treat your developers like they're disposable. So they are, like I said, they're building the core piece of your business. You have to appreciate them and love them. So with that being said, here's my contact information. If you have any questions for me about Rock Your Block or being an entrepreneur in general, definitely feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to grab a coffee or lunch anytime. Otherwise, thanks so much for your time, everyone.
Thank you.